Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Squared Circle Maniacs podcast. My name is war correspondent Johnny Bottles. I'm joined to my left by war correspondent Dr. Don Wayne, the neckbeard psychologist. You know him, you love him from Twitter, if you've ever had the opportunity to exchange pleasantries, if you will, with Dr. Don. He always has a kind word for many of the neckbeard wrestling enthusiasts in the IWC. Don, how are we looking today? I understand there's a war going on, Don.
Apparently it is a real battle. There are some problems that's going on in the world of professional wrestling. Excuse me. Allergy season here rages on. I'm fighting the battle that I can. This weekend I was called an idiot. I was called poor. And I was called a moron for several other reasons, most of them dealing with pro wrestling. One of them having to do with having a blue check mark on Twitter. Don't at me. Right. It's $100, folks. It ain't a big deal to me. I enjoy Twitter. I pay for it. Calm down. Give me a follow. Bust a move. That's me. That's my real handle on Twitter. And this all started because I thought we were done with this on Thursday. I thought this was over. I thought AEW had learned their lesson. I thought they had figured it out. This was a bad idea to air the CM Punk footage. They started ripping it down as soon as it went up. Just ripping anybody who had any of it down. It's almost like the buyer's remorse set in and Tony Khan said, I gotta get this shit off the internet. This is bad and it's making us all look bad. There was your Dave Meltzer afterbirth, where he tried to cover this in as many different ways as he could. He said, and I quote, the Jack Perry glass comment was supposed to be an angle for later on between the two of them. This was from Dave Meltzer, said the angle. Yes, he did. He said the angle comment was supposed to lead to, or the comment was supposed to lead to an angle between CM Punk and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Someone should have probably told Punk when this was all going on. And I'm pretty sure that the owner, if this was a real angle, would have gotten up and said something before he started trying to choke the life from him. I told you, he said this. This was a real statement. He also said, I'm telling you, Dave Meltzer has been in full.
That was an angle? The glass was supposed to be an angle between Punk and Perry? Is that what this idiot's saying?
That's what the man said. That this was all going to lead to an angle where they had a match.
Don, I think the eye lift that Dave got about a year ago, the plastic surgery, where he's got the Kenny Rogers eyes now, if you ever remember seeing Kenny Rogers when he was close to death. He's got the Kenny Rogers eyes. If you saw him doing West Wrestling Observer Radio with Alvarez on the YouTube, and I watch that frequently, he looks like he's passed out, just holding a microphone on the couch like this. He's got his eyes open. But literally, you could blindfold that man with a rubber band around his head. That's how bad his eyes are. I think that eye lift has strangled his brain, Don. I think it's cutting off the circulation to his cranium, to his entire cerebral cortex and his medulla oblongata.
Wait, it gets better. Because the Granny Wrangler went on to say, and I quote.
The what?
The Granny Wrangler. I'm calling him the Granny Wrangler. Because all he's dealing with are old, bitter wrestling fans right now, or these young kids that don't know what wrestling is.
It sounds like a dirt strangler.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close. He said, it just gets better and better. There were chants heard from the crowd of fuck CM Punk when the footage was airing of him choking one Jungle Boy Jack Perry. When the whole thing happened, the whole 6-second clip. I found that video. I went out of my way and found that video. The whole crowd was chanting CM Punk, and there were 8 guys screaming the fuck part. That's how
the guys who were holding the phone from the arena.
Yes,
those guys. Yeah.
So it didn't stop. The entire part of him trying to spin this to protect his precious AEW is not only laughable, it's downright sad when you think about it. Because then you have Tony Khan come out and say his comments. And I'll let you read those real quick before we go on, because that's what this whole show is based on. I thought they learned their lesson. You are the number 2 promotion. Here's what's sad about this whole thing before we get way into it. 4 years ago, I had totally quit watching professional wrestling. I had no more interest. The WWE was simply unwatchable. Yes, folks, I got news for you. Bad wrestling is bad wrestling, and I refuse to pay money or to attend it. 5 years ago, it was the shits. I would watch the Royal Rumble, and I would watch a couple of matches leading to the damn WrestleMania, and after that, I was out. I didn't have any other. I didn't want to watch anymore, but it was terrible. The storyline sucked. Everything about it sucked. And then slowly they started sucking me back in because guess it got good again. It became entertaining again. And the better WWE got, it's like the worse AEW has slipped into this indie mindset of do as much shit as you possibly can and just get out of sell nothing, do as much as you can, have a 20-minute match, make sure Dave Meltzer loves you. That's what this has become. A Dave Meltzer, I love this shit match. By the way, thank you all for watching. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. We appreciate it. The super chat's open. If anybody's got some comments, love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We also have something called a super thanks. So if you catch our videos while we're not on the air live, you can click on the super thanks and give us a nickel, a quarter, $1, $5, buy us lunch, buy us a coffee, whatever. Buy me a beer. Buy Beer Man a beer. Buy somebody a beer. Buy Don a drink.
Read the comments from this jackwagon. This ass dumpster of a quote machine.
This was from an interview done on the website. I guess it's just a regular media website called IndieWire.
Yes, I heard it. Sounds like a legit company.
It does, Don. It does. They've got three neckbeards with pink hair minding the store. They're behind the website. Everything's done through probably emails because they don't want anybody to see how hideous they look. There's a number of big factors that will play into why wrestling has been such a great renaissance in recent years. I think it comes from the great competition in wrestling right now and the fact that there are so many great stars competing right now. Everyone knows that the most real thing in wrestling is the competition between the companies. The companies hate each other, and it will be a natural resource that powers the industry. They want to beat each other and take everybody's free agents, and that makes it interesting for everyone else. Todd also talked about the professional wrestling returning to mainstream prominence and why competition between companies has been the catalyst. There's a number of big factors will play into why wrestling. I just read this. Why would they repeat that?
Because it's IndieWire, pal. It's IndieWire.
They got the same quote is right in the middle
twice
at the beginning. Okay. When signing free agents to AEW, Khan says, it's been very exciting to bring a lot of the top free agents in, and many of them are international stars that are being introduced to some fans on American television for the first time ever. I think now in a digital era where the information is at our fingertips and entire libraries of matches are at our fingertips, it's more feasible than ever for fans to familiarize themselves and for these wrestlers to connect with the domestic audience upon arrival, like Okada has so well, and Shibata, and Takeshita, and El Hijo Con Astro, whatever his name is, the kid who destroyed his knee 6 ways to Sunday. You know who I'm talking about.
I'm not getting into these names. I butcher them enough on my own. I'm not helping you, pal.
Oh, Lord. It's horrendous. So in other words, the information's at our fingertips. We should Google who these people are. Same thing the neckbeards say. On the intent with the creation of AEW. AEW is a challenger brand in the pro wrestling industry.
And that's the quote.
That's the quote. When we started All Elite Wrestling, pro wrestling had been a monopoly for about 20 years. It was something that was really important for me to create an alternative pro wrestling promotion with a major following, which is, my quote is, dwindling by the week. That's it. That's IndieWire, pal.
Look, the truth is you're a second promotion right now. That's what you are. 4 years ago, you actually had 1 million people watching your product pretty routinely, might I add. You had 1 million people watching because everybody, including me, was sick as hell of watching the badness that was Vince McMahon booking. It was terrible. It was awful. And here we are 4 years later, and you have gone the exact way that you said you would not go, which was hiring every free agent you could find and putting bad products on TV. You give me characters that I don't know the background on, and instead of telling me a story about them, you tell me to Google them. And I'm going to get into WWE a minute here because they did the same shit this week, which really pissed me off on SmackDown. I thought it was ridiculous and terrible, and they should know better. But for him to say, we're in a major battle. There's no battle, man. This thing is over. I just looked at the numbers for SmackDown the last 2 weeks. They've done 2.49 and 2.55 million on average. I haven't seen Raw this week, but I'm going to bet they're still popping 1.75. Their major shows are doing 2 and 3 times your best ratings in the past several months right now. You promised me an event that was supposed to be based on old school, real sports wrestling, where it makes sense on why people get booked the way they do and why people get ranked and why they're challengers. None of this is worth a shit anymore. You need to turn this over to someone else and let them book. I don't know what else to say. I can't reiterate it enough. You put on these 20-minute matches every week that don't mean anything and lose me as a fan because there's no storyline. I don't want to go on a tyrant on this guy, but I'm done with it because there's so many other people that deserve to get some rounds fired down range.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Is it a good question?
It's a good question. You're Tony Khan. You own
I'm
AEW.
selling the company.
You couldn't sell it because it doesn't make any money.
Oh, God.
You would just have to fold it. It makes no money whatsoever. You can sell the intellectual property for a dime, but
I hear you. Let's go down this rabbit hole of nonsense we're about to do. I am the owner. I'm Tony Khan. What do I do? Is that what you're going to ask?
You're going to look at your locker room and your roster, and you're going to say, what 3 people can book my television?
Ooh, I don't know if
anyone there is capable of it.
I don't know if there is. Like, I'd have to see backstage. If Arn Anderson is still there, I've got to bring him back. He at least knows how to book a match. I got to bring Arn into the fold somehow. I want to get somebody new that's recent, that still understands the art of wrestling. And I know there's a lot of guys still out there. That's a good question. Well, we might have to look at that Thursday night when we start, having to dissect what happened on AEW the night before. I like that question. Give me 48 hours to look into that and see what I would do. Because there's other minds I'd reach out to just to have some collaboration efforts with them. I don't need you to book my show, but I need some collaboration with you. So that's just an idea. Let me think about that one.
I'm not going to be able to watch Dynamite on Wednesday. I've got penciled in on my calendar. I've got a new job. I've got to watch a fly climb the curtains. I'll get more excitement from that.
You're going to watch it, and you're going to pass out 45 minutes into it and call me the next day and say, pal, I couldn't get through that piece of shit. I'm going to try to watch this afternoon. And then you'll call me at 5 and say, pal, I fell asleep again. I got to get the rest of it this evening. I'll get it before the show. It's
horrendous to watch. It's horrendous because it's like chasing your dog. Your dog swallowed your wife's wedding ring, and it's like you're chasing your dog around the yard every time it has a bowel movement, and you're fishing through the excrement to look for that wedding ring, a little nugget of goodness through all the shit. And most of the time, you're there like this, going, "There's no ring. There's nothing good about this. I'm on my hands and knees begging." Please pass that ring. Give me something good. And there's nothing there.
Give me something good.
Good. Wow. Tell me. There's
more shit going on behind the scenes of what's actually happening on some of these wrestling programs. Ronda Rousey will not shut the hell up on her bitch tour 2024.
She's trying to sell that book, Don.
She will not stop with the nonsense. She's just going off the H. She said that they would not give her the moments like they've given Logan Paul. And I was like, you wanted to be double teamed by Randy Orton and Kevin Owens? Am I missing something here? What kind of a freak flag is she trying to fly? And then she clarified and said she wanted the time to do promos. I was like, okay, that makes more sense. I thought you were getting some freaknik shit there. I was trying to figure out what was going on. She has bashed. She hasn't even worked with Logan Paul, and she's bitching about this guy. It's just some of the promos that are coming out now. It's just you're not even coming off as cool. It's just you're petty and you're mad that your second run was so upsetting and so terrible that the fans just didn't want to see.
They sent her a ring to her farm where she could wrestle in the ring and work out with Natalya. and a few other wrestlers. That's what they did. Brian Kendrick. That's a name from the past, from the early 2000s. Brian Kendrick worked out with her at his school. She had all the time to rehearse. She's not pissed off because Logan Paul gets to rehearse the match that he's going to have with a guy, which is not calling it in the ring. If you're an old school guy, there's nothing old school about Logan Paul's matches. You wonder how he's so good. It's because he rehearses, he practices, he rehearses the match verbatim from bell to bell. That's how he does it.
Macho Man did the same thing. He went over line by line with his matches when he was going to have a big match. Tito said, or not Tito, but Ricky Steamboat has talked about in depth that he had sheets of notes on a line by line display on how they should run their match. There's nothing wrong with that. Ronda is just pissed off, man. She's pissed off that the second run was so bad. The fans didn't want to see her. The first run was memorable. She got over like a champ. The second time around, she's just complaining
she didn't want to be there.
now. No,
she didn't
want to be there. So,
she probably thought they were going to let her have her contract because she had a baby and all that.
But
she had to fulfill a contractual obligation.
She got that money. If you get that money, you're going to have to work. I got news for you. You work for your money. No one's paying to just look at you, Ronda.
And then
they want to see you
she was a heel. Then she became a heel. And as of note, in wrestling business, the heels, unless you're the Bloodline, don't sell that many T-shirts. They don't sell that much merch because they're heels.
I'm a heel.
So, she was a heel. Her promos sucked. They could have booked her better. They could have booked her like the second coming of Goldberg. In a match, 2 minutes later, she's wrecked that person and done. That's how the matches should have gone. She shouldn't have been having 20-minute matches on TV or at PLEs. But it is what it is. You know what I would have done? I would have thrown all the money at Holly Holm.
Dude.
When Rousey was there, I was throwing all the money at Holly Holm and said, listen, just 3 appearances. 2 on television and for TV, and then 1 PLE to have you face Ronda Rousey in a match.
I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen that because it would have shut her up. That's the one chick that you couldn't get by. As much as you like to claim you're the baddest one on the planet, that chick knocked your teeth out, and you were
whipped her ass
from pillar to post. Your grappling sucked. You got beat up. And now you're pissed off that WWE didn't go the way you wanted it to because you thought you'd be the wrestling darling. There's more in the WWE than just wrestling moves.
Actually, her grappling was good in the ring and MMA. Her striking wasn't the best.
Terrible.
So she tried to get in there right away, catch somebody's arm at a strike, and throw him in that armbar, and that was it. But with Holly Holm, she couldn't do that because Holly Holm was a female boxer before she would whoop your ass and take your candy. Jumped into MMA.
Yeah, I mean, she was notorious for whipping all the boys in the yard, taking their lunch money in high school.
Is that what she was doing?
Give me your $3, Peter. That was it. That's how she got the name. Holly Holm.
Holly Holm.
The man.
Come on, Holmes. Come on, Holmes.
She was the
man.
Leave
me alone, Holmes.
It gets better. This weekend didn't stop with the craziness. Kenny Omega was streaming, playing video games on Twitch. And of all the shit from this weekend that I would have come out saying, me having a higher opinion of Kenny Omega was not on my bingo card. It's a long interview. It's a long little soliloquy of him for about 4 minutes, just going on a little rant, just speaking his mind while he's playing a game and also saying, oh, that was a good move. That was a good move. He's playing
bitching about how hard. Oh, I thought he was talking about how hard Elden's Ring is. Go ahead.
He was playing Street Fighter, whatever one it was.
Who was he playing against? Adam Cole?
No, somebody online. I don't know. He said that when he went into CM Punk's locker room, the only thing he was worried about was Larry the dog because the dog was freaking out. He went to get the dog, got inadvertently into the fight, and ran out with the dog. So, from what I've heard, and you have heard, much of that was true. We've never heard that he threw a punch. We just heard he got the dog and got the hell out of there. That's all we've heard, right? That's all we've heard. Then
I know what we did hear that he tried to separate them, and Ace Steel made a flying leap into the mess and grabbed Kenny Omega in a front face lock, and he broke the front face lock. Omega did by wait a minute.
No, yeah, Ace Steel bit his arm.
Ace Steel bit his arm. So he got Ace Steel to front face lock. And Ace Steel bit the arm to get out of it. I had it backwards.
So, but he got, either way, he says, my whole thing was I'm getting Larry the Dog and I'm getting the hell out of here. And he got Larry the Dog and he got the hell out of here. And then he went on to say, shortly after, he and CM Punk called, talked to each other, made up. They had no problems. There was no problems between CM Punk and Kenny Omega, according to this, what Kenny Omega said, which shocked me because he then went on to say there were other mitigating factors within the company outside of my control that I could not stop what was happening.
Right.
Tells me a couple of things. One, this clarifies to me, without a doubt, where all the leaks were coming from in this story after the fact. Kenny Omega's calling trying to make up with him. The other goddamn group is trying to get this thing going. I mean, a year and a half later, we're just now hearing about what happened.
I didn't see this clip that you're talking about. Did he discuss anything that could have been covered by an NDA?
No, he just said from his perspective.
He was very careful to dance around it. Yes.
He just said, and then he said, you know, it's 2024. Can you imagine me being an EVP in a wrestling business for a company that I'm not even working at right now? Or something along those lines. The way this entire thing went down, it gave me, not just me, but a lot of folks, the impression that he doesn't really want to be with this company anymore. And he's having, once again, here's that word, buyer's remorse. Like maybe Kenny's like, hey, man, this isn't working for me. This isn't what I signed up for. I think it's time for me to go my separate way as well. That's how this whole thing came off to me. And I could be wrong, but that's how it sounded.
He's disgruntled. He's disgruntled because like it's buyer's remorse. It wasn't what he thought it was going to be in the long run. Plus, there's not enough of thong matches that he can wrestle in, and shoving his hands in the prayer position up another man's keister.
Or
not enough of that. There's not enough of that, which he calls Tuesday. Yes, not enough of that.
But look, in all seriousness,
it's called that in Japan is called Heshinoko. Hang on 1 second, I got it right here.
Oh dear God.
Heshinoko Nogosako Iloko. That means there's a letter in my mailbox. That's that match. That's Japanese for there's a letter in my mailbox. Please pull it out.
You can say whatever you want to say. Him talking in this entire deal with the video game Twitch monitor, that was crazy to me because he just started spilling his guts almost like, I got to get this off my chest, man. This is eating at me, especially with what's going on with CM Punk. Now he's like, guys, I don't have any issue with CM Punk. I like CM Punk. CM Punk and I made up. There's no hard feelings between us. However, there's another group of this company that's got a serious problem with him and can't get over it because he's more famous, and the fans respect and love him more. That's just what I took away from it. I can't believe you didn't see it because it was everywhere this weekend, but that one sort of got my attention and stopped me in my tracks.
I saw a picture. I saw the thumbnail on Twitter for the GIF, the video, and it was him out of shape, wearing a dirty T-shirt, sitting there in his shorts. The hair's all effed up, and there's like a video game clip playing on the side, and he's talking, and I just said, this guy's got to be pilled up. Doesn't know what day it is.
I think that's the old clip. The one that I'm talking about, it didn't show him at all. It was just a screen. That might be an old clip. It was just showing him playing the actual game. There was no actual video of him. I think I know what you're talking about. That's really old, I think. Like years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he looked like $1 million. He looked like $100 in that clip I saw. But go ahead, Doc. Where are you at next? Where are we at?
Well, I'll tell you where we're at now. We're in Chicago, baby, because I don't know if you watch this. We're going to Chicago, baby. Did you know that New Japan Pro Wrestling had the Windy City Riot this past weekend in Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
It was go time. And there were some big things that happened in this show. Nope, there weren't.
It was probably in front of 1,000 of the biggest New Japan fans you could ever imagine.
The big news out of this, there was two big news, and I want to get to those, was Jack Perry was at the show, right? This was his back in America, first time wrestling. It also says a lot about the state of New Japan Pro Wrestling. They didn't used to wrestle in America. It was Tokyo Dome or stadiums in Japan or bust. This was a big company just 5 or 6 years ago. They had big names. They were coming along. There were guys. Now. It's a shell of what it was at this point in time.
Because it was raped. It was raped by Jacksonville Dixie. Tony Khan plundered all the big stars, as recent as Okada and Shibata from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
And now they're running in Chicago, which was something I thought I'd never see. But anyway, Jack Perry was there, and this was just after the CM Punk incident. And I thought, okay, this is over. Let's let this go. This guy cannot let it go. He came out with scapegoat on his jacket. They introduced him as the scapegoat Jack Perry. He can't help himself. You got choked out. You got pushed. You fixed your hair instead of preparing to fight. There's no good look in any of this for you. None of this makes you look like a tough guy. You coming out wearing a jacket that says scapegoat makes you look like a clown. Put the big rubber nose on, pal. Get the wig. It's showtime. Bozo, get out there and tap dance. The monkey's got to sing. It's horrible. He comes out, and I'm reading it straight from it. CM Punk fans filled the arena the minute he shows up, which you're expecting. Was CM Punk on this card and I missed it? Did I miss that, Johnny?
I don't believe so, Don.
No, he was not. That is the worst thing you can have happen, is to have a wrestler that is not in your company getting chanted for at a show he's not at.
You mean like last Wednesday night?
Like last Wednesday night. Chanting for a wrestler that is not in your company is awful. When CM Punk left WWE and it happened to them, I was watching, and it was bad. It showed you how pissed off the entire fan base was. And then they went on to brag and say, we sold out of the Crimea River shirts. But they never tell you how many shirts they sold. Was it 25? Did you have 25 of those shirts made? Was it 100?
It was a shirt. It was a shirt that was never on AEW television. I don't even think it was on the website.
By the way, SCM shirts, Square Circle Maniacs, were sold out. We got to get some more in stock. I'm not going to tell you how many we sold, but we're sold out. Hit me up if you want to buy one. I'd be glad to get it to you. It just doesn't stop. The crowd then started chanting, you got choked out. That's far worse than CM Punk in my mind. That's way worse. Yes. Am I wrong?
That footage last Wednesday did that kid no favors. I'm no fan of Jack Perry. I like the whole Jurassic Express routine when he came out with Marco Stunt, who did the that little what's that dance called where he's got a towel drying his ass off with a towel. I forgot that there's a name for that dance. I forgot what it is. And he came out with Luchasaurus, and it was a great gimmick. Jurassic Express. It was something you didn't see. You never saw this before. Something totally different. It was a novel idea. They played the Tarzan Boys song by Baltimore as his theme song. A great gimmick. Perry was the worker, the Shawn Michaels. Luchasaurus was the Diesel. He could hardly wrestle, but then again, Diesel could hardly wrestle anyway. So it was a great package. You're in the ring for 5 minutes. Match is over. You're done. Kids love the gimmick. He even, when he got suspended this go-round, he copyrighted the name Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Jurassic Express. Because Tony Khan didn't. Just in case he gets shit-canned, he could take those and go somewhere else, and use that gimmick. He should just say, look, Tony, I want to go back to being Jungle Boy again. I want to be a face. I want to go back to being Jungle Boy. Let me have Luchasaurus back. That's all he's got to do. Please, Tony. Please. I don't know why they're doing this with this guy. He's got the charisma of a man who just had his
soul taken out, quite honestly.
He's got the charisma of a man who had his gluteal cleft violated by Kenny Omega with his fingers.
All right, stop. You're getting over the line now. Time out. I know you're mad at the guy, but I'm going to get to the next thing.
This whole show's over the line, pal.
No,
this whole channel's over the line.
No, the next thing is over the line. The next thing is over the line. John Moxley did something that I don't think has been done by very many people. If anyone, I think he's the first.
He bit someone in the throat and drank their blood.
Well, no, that's actually been done. I'm looking at the title. John Moxley won the IWGP Jeff Hardy TNA title. Wait, nope, that's not what that is. Hold on. It's the mid-2000s Divas title. Nope, hold on. Oh, that's a new IWGP belt. I didn't know that because it used to look like an actual title. Now it looks like something Batman would hang on his wall to make fun of people. It's the worst looking piece of shit I've ever seen.
Are the side plates on the belt a plumber and not a plumber, a plunger and a wrench?
It's
special side plates for him.
This thing looks god awful. It looks like shit. Why did they get rid of that other belt? That other belt looked great to me. That was actually my favorite looking title in all of wrestling. And I don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't watch it. I don't watch it. The IGNJ, whatever the hell title this is.
IWGP.
Okay.
IWGP. It's something like Irv Weinstein's Grand Prix championship.
I don't care. He's their new champion. He's their new champion, right? Like that's what it is.
He's the head guy. He's the main champ of New Japan Pro Wrestling right this minute. John Moxley. He'll be there. He'll be there tomorrow. I'm sure he'll be wrestling a match with that belt tomorrow against Okada or Shibata.
Again, it just looks like shit to me. Now, this belt used to look great. It was the one title in wrestling that I thought, man, that thing looks amazing. That thing looks amazing.
Tomorrow he'll be wrestling Birmana.
Oh, God. Bottles, I don't need this shit on a Tuesday, pal. We're going to have to watch this tomorrow, and you're just...
This is just ludicrous to put that... I have a federation, especially one over across the pond, to go ahead and put that belt on that guy. That guy.
But here's the thing, though.
Wrestler. That's like, what's next? Nick Gage, WWE champ?
Again, though, here's the thing. He is the most recognizable guy in that company right now, by far.
Who?
Moxley is. Is he not the biggest star in that company now? He is.
Samoa Joe.
He's not in the company.
Samoa Joe. Are you talking about New Japan or AEW?
New Japan. Moxley's part of New Japan now. It's that weird ass swap
a revolving door. It's forbidden door. Forbidden door.
Well, it's forbidden back door. I think somebody's getting fucked either way.
Right. Probably Kenny Omega's knocking on the forbidden back door.
Will you stop? Why are you? I'm starting to like Kenny, and you're getting ridiculous. You're getting ridiculous.
You're starting to like Kenny Omega?
I'm starting to like him as a person. Now, I can't get over the ring stuff. That's never going to be the thing. Like I'm getting over him as a person. The ring stuff I can never get over. So I'm going to move on.
You're hurting my heart, Don. You're hurting my heart.
I'm going to move on to some other shit. AEW had a show Saturday night called Battle of the Belts.
I heard about this.
Guess how many AEW titles were actually defended?
Oh, let me off the top of my head. 0.
Battle of the Belts. Nope, I'm going to give you another chance. Battle of the Belts. How many AEW titles were defended at Battle of the Belts?
2.
There were 0 belts defended by AEW champions at Battle of the Belts. 0.
He wants one of those shows on the weekends, Collision or Rampage, to be a Ring of Honor show so badly. How many Ring of Honor belts were defended?
There were 2 defended on the show. 2 of them. Which makes me wonder again, why did you call this an AEW Battle of the Belts show? It was embarrassing. I don't understand what the hell they're doing. I don't want to watch Ring of Honor. It's not even a secondary promotion. It's not on television. It doesn't have its own thing. It's on AEW television. NXT is part of WWE, is it not?
Yes.
Does it have its own channel?
No.
NXT does not have its own channel?
It's on USA.
Yeah, but does it have its own night then? How's that? Does it have its own night and its own channel to debut on?
Yes, Don.
Okay, thank you. Holy shit. I'm going to dig a new grave outside. I swear to God. You're not burying me, pal.
I'm not burying nobody, pal. I'm tired of this company, man. I'm just tired of it.
Well, we're going to move on then because that shit caught me
Ring
off
of
guard.
Honor AEW, and he's got such a bug up his ass because he wants Ring of Honor, which is what he grew up with, Ring of Honor, idolizing Ring of Honor, to be its own show, a force to be reckoned with, a separate promotion, and it's not. And he can't get any traction with it. No one wants Ring of Honor. The CW didn't want it. Warner Brothers Discovery doesn't want it. He puts those belts up for grabs on Battle for the Belts, and you don't have to be a genius to figure this out. So he could say, look, all these Ring of Honor belts were defended on this show. Yep. And the ratings were fantastic, weren't they, guys? What were the ratings, Don?
450, 76, I think. 476, something like that.
467. That was Collision. That wasn't Battle of the Belts.
I don't even give a shit, to be quite honest, because I'm moving on to SmackDown.
Good.
And I'm going to get through SmackDown as fast as I can. Cody Rhodes came out. The crowd's on fire. The Cody haters can kiss my ass. Go watch him live. People love this guy. And they did the smart thing here on SmackDown.
What was that?
They kept his promo short and got his ass in and out of the ring. Too much Cody is too much Cody. We said it a couple of weeks ago.
Every show he's on. Every show.
He had SmackDown.
He should go to NXT next and do the.
He had an open Mike Knight comment in his promo, which if you know, you know, and if you don't, hit me up on Twitter and I'll share the clip with you because his old lady went nuts on Jade Cargill several years ago and is the wildest shit AEW has ever done to this date and the most entertaining thing I've ever seen happen on that show. Still today. He acknowledged he'll be standing here. He acknowledged the NWA. He checked out the attendance, which I thought was cool. He said, hold on, I got to look at this crowd. There's 20,000 people. Yeah! Just at good television. I love everything that they're doing right now. They're showing the crowd. Great shot of the crowd. And then the Paul Heyman, the Bloodline.
20,000 people. 20,000 people. That's, good Lord. That's 15 Ring of AEW crowds.
They introduced a new Bloodline member because I'm going to get to the short of this. Who is the new Bloodline member?
Tama Tonga.
I don't know who the hell that is, and I don't give a shit. There was a million different ways you could have introduced this guy on Friday night. You could have said, we are adding to the family. Have Paul Heyman bring this guy out. Here is the newest member. Give him a backstory. Have a little vignette. Let me know who he is as a fan. Instead, I got some horse shit backyard out of nowhere in the ring, sucker punches, Jey Uso, and we're out of here.
It was very TNA-ish. Very TNA-ish.
It was awful. I didn't like any of this shit. It was horrible. None of this made any sense, and it turned me off for the rest of this whole show. What did you think of how they introduced him? I don't know this guy because I don't spend every waking second of my life researching wrestling. I have shit to do.
In the news, you knew he was coming in. 2 months ago, they said they signed
I didn't know. Guy. I thought it was the other guy coming in.
Jacob Fatu. He signed
that guy also. I've heard about, yes.
He just signed WrestleMania week. Tama Tonga got signed like a month and a half to 2 months ago. Tama Tonga was announced as coming in. We thought he was going to come in at WrestleMania. He did. Tama Tonga is the son of Haku, or if you're a WCW fan, Meng. That's who Tama Tonga is. He spent the majority of his professional career working for the Bullet Club in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And he left there for greener pastures to the WWE because New Japan is falling apart, basically. So, to sum that up, they could have had Paul Heyman bring the guy out because he was a hire in storyline. He was brought in by whoever the tribal chief is. Heyman didn't know anything about it. But what they could have done, they could have had a video up or an interview halfway through the show, show Haku coming to the ring, show him in WCW, show him in WWE, the baddest man on the planet at the time. I wouldn't mess with him down. And he's running a car dealership down here in Florida. And I wouldn't want to go and say, hey, Let's haggle.
Okay.
And he said, brother, bring your wife in. We'll dick her.
Are you getting my hint, though?
I am getting your hint. I'm getting your hint completely. They should have run a little promo package saying, hey, I was overseas for the longest time.
To the family.
The tribal chief called me up and told me to come in. He called my dad, and my dad said, go, son. And here I am. That's what they could have done.
That's all they needed. And that's all they needed. And instead, we got this backyard bullshit where somebody runs in and somebody's trying to explain who he is. And I don't care in the moment because it's too much to take in. This guy's attacking. This guy's trying to explain who he is. Paul Heyman's about to shit a broom handle right here on the spot. But by the way, Paul Heyman, his facials are perfect.
Fantastic.
Everything he does he looked like he wanted to die every time they got in his face on the show.
Nail that bastard to Emmy. Give him an Emmy.
It's perfect. Everything he's hitting on is just absolutely perfect. I hated everything else about this segment. I hated it. I don't mind that you want to continue the bloodline. I get that. Right?
Right. It's going to be, you can see where the storyline's going to go right now. It's going to be, and you can quote me on this, it's going to be Roman Reigns' bloodline versus The Rock's bloodline. Eventually. Look for that at Survivor Series, folks.
I know, I am. Like, it makes the most sense for it to happen there.
Yes.
So, the whole thing with Paul Heyman was great. They go to stand there to raise the fingers, and you see him say, call the tribal chief. And Solo takes his phone and smashes it and stomps it. And then that was one of the highlights, and I'm going to get to the rest of it. I mean, the rest of this, man, if you want to get through it, we can. I don't really care about much of this. The Bayley segment was pretty good. I thought that was, at least entertaining for once. Like, I thought that was cool. But the Paul backstage segment was the next highlight of the night to me, where he gets told the tribal chief did this. So it makes you wonder, either he's out on who the tribal chief is telling now, or there's a new tribal chief. It can be taken one of two ways. So I was highly sports entertained by that. Was there anything else about this? Because Naomi and Tiffany had a match, another woman's match. I don't care. Jade Cargill came out, did one of her, 3 moves of doom, and that was the end of that. Did I miss anything?
No, it was a lackluster SmackDown. After the opening segment with the reset of the bloodline, and now you've got to think to yourself, is Solo Sikoa the new tribal chief? Obviously not, but everybody's thinking that. What's going on with Solo Sikoa?
Right.
What's going on with Jimmy Uso now? He's out of the bloodline. What's going to happen? Is it going to be a reunion of the Uso brothers? Is it too soon?
It might be too soon, but my God, it's not too soon to get rid of Jey in the main event spotlight, because I know there's a segment of the audience that likes this guy. I like him better as a tag team, being the front man and his brother being the backup, muscle. I'm not a fan of Jey out there on his own. I'm just not.
He's a great promo. He's got charismatic guy, and he can wrestle rings around most people. But I think that he's being done a disservice in his main event run. Give him a feud. Put him in a feud with somebody for like weeks, and then have a match with that person. Build it up. Build Jey Uso up. Just don't throw him in. Okay, he's a number 1 contender now. I don't understand it. Why would you do that? Why? I don't understand. They've got, 2 weeks before Backlash?
I don't know. I've got to look that up,
I think so. I think it's 2 weeks before Backlash. The next PLE, that's where he faces Damian Priest. How can you build a feud in 2 weeks like that? I'd rather I want to see a CM Punk, Drew McIntyre build for Jey Uso against an opponent.
Look, but you don't have a CM Punk in this moment. CM Punk and Drew are doing this, which, by the way, I want to talk about that real quick. The numbers of the reports keep coming out that Drew McIntyre is still not signed. Becky Lynch still doesn't have a contract. Yeah.
Right.
These keep getting reported, and I know there was a bunch of front office firings regarding people in charge of contracts, and it makes me think that just maybe they got fired because they didn't get these deals done. Because, by the way, Drew McIntyre today is worth probably twice what he was 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago.
Exactly.
He has put himself on the map. He has taken the ball and run with it. He is that dude as a heel that is both witty and charismatic and can cut you off at the knees because he's big enough to look like he means the shit he says. And I love his character development over the last 4 months. I love it.
You know, they're doing a Highlander remake starring Henry Cavill. If they don't hire Drew McIntyre for that remake of Highlander, there's really something wrong in casting in Hollywood because he's born for it.
I'd agree with you. He's got the look. He's got the accent. He's got the look. He's got the kilt. I mean, what else are you looking for? Don't look up his kilt, ladies and gentlemen. It's a perverted thing to do. All right.
That's what he said.
Which, by the way, speaking of perverts, did you see Vince McMahon?
Scatman Vince?
Did you hear what he's done the last several weeks now?
You mean these recent several weeks or
yes,
going in perpetuity?
Like the last month and a half in a row now what he's been doing.
I saw that. Him and John Laurinaitis opened up a fudge store.
Jesus. No, Johnny. He sold so much TKO stock it equates to $1.1 billion in cash.
Yes. And people, all the idiots on the internet and in wrestling media, oh, he's going to open up a new promotion. He might buy AEW. He's going to open up his own promotion. He's not going to do any of that.
No. He's looking for an island to escape to where no one can ever bother his ass again.
Right. And his legal fees are going to be right through the roof.
Yeah,
so.
He's trying to Epstein his ass to an island and get the hell out of Dodge for this whole thing comes down on him.
Right.
Like anybody that knows anything about a criminal knows you get as much cash as you can and hit the door, Jack. I got to get the hell out of town.
Hit the bricks.
Time to get the hell out of here, buddy.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, he sold $1.1 billion in cash stock. That blew my mind when I read that the other day. Holy shit, Bottles. That's impressive. Anyway, thought I'd drop that real quick. I want to talk about Raw real quick because there was something about Raw, and I want to know if you noticed it. It started the show. Did you notice how Raw started this week?
It started like this.
Not that. No, it did not. No, it did not. We'll talk about that in a minute. You didn't notice it, did you?
I didn't notice it, no.
It opened like an MMA fight. It showed all the active combatants.
All these guys coming in.
Yes.
They were all coming in, yes.
It showed them all coming in. It looked absolutely phenomenal. I was impressed with how the show looked. That got my attention right off the damn bat. I was like, look at this. This is pretty cool. I can deal with this. I'm starting to dig this. It feels like a real thing. And then out came Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
And I shed a tear because one of my only reasons for watching Raw's women's matches is for that woman. She is what Charlotte Flair was, one of the sole reasons to watch a women's match in today's environment.
Yep.
They're going to have to do a massive overhaul on Raw to do something with the women's division because I got news for you, and you can hate me all you want. I don't get Liv Morgan as a wrestler. She could be a great manager or a valet, but her in the ring, I cannot get behind and I cannot support it. I don't get it, and I'm never going to get it. Bottles, I mean, what do you think of her? The whole thing just sucks, man. The rumor has it that she had her wrist hurt before what happened last week when she took it to the wall. Like, that's the rumors that she hurt it, and then she's going to have surgery now, and she's going to be out for an extended period of time. Like, she's going to be out for a while.
Well, it's not surgery that she's going to have. It's not the wrist that's bothering her. It's the shoulder now.
Are you sure? Because I read it's her wrist.
Oh, no. It's the shoulder. I'm going to show it to you right now.
Oh, shit. We're going to get banned for this, Johnny.
No.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. Here it is right now. It's the AC joint. The acromioclavicular.
So this is actually okay.
The acromioclavicular joint is where the shoulder blade meets the collarbone.
You do
And
it, you'll clean it up.
Yes, the higher point of the shoulder blade is called the acromion. Strong tissues called ligaments connect the acromion to the collarbone. And what she's done is she's pulled all these ligaments. If they're not torn, they're strained. So what causes the AC joint strain? Falling on your shoulder, falling onto an outstretched hand, getting a direct blow to your shoulder. So swelling, bruising, changing the shoulder shape, shoulder that appears to droop. She's got to go through therapy, physical therapy, to get the mobility back. And then she's got to take, that's going to be like 6 weeks. Then she's got to take 3 months off for it to heal.
Damn.
No surgery.
Well, I'm glad it's not going to take surgery, but here's the thing. I know about an AC joint sprain because in the NFL, it can kill your year as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It can kill it. It really can. Like, it can end everything you're doing as a quarterback in the NFL. So it's a pretty serious injury. And I've seen a lot of people on Twitter today. Oh, why does she have to give up the belt? The WWE guys never do. Do we really need to go do a line by line on how many guys have had to vacate the title of the WWE over the years? Seth Rollins had to do it once. Finn Balor had to do it once. Roman Reigns had to do it once. There's a history here. If you're going to be out for months,
they have a valid point.
I mean, stop bitching.
How did they not protect Seth Rollins for what, 2.5, 3 months?
Yes,
they did.
Yes.
Why couldn't they just have Rhea Ripley? Why couldn't they have her walk around with her arm in a sling, or just take it out of the sling for the show and have the title over her shoulder and just walk around and be the manager for the Judgment Day?
Well, because she wants to have the look when she's on camera, and I get that. This is probably hers as well, right? Like, look, I can't work out. I can't be me. I don't want to be a shell of myself and have to gain back 10 or 15 pounds of muscle in 3 weeks once this thing's healthy and be on TV the whole time. I don't ever want to look meek. So I'm going to go away, and I'll come back at SummerSlam, and I'll powerbomb the shit out of this little bitch, and we'll be done with it in 30-second squash match. And that's how it's going to work.
Valid point.
Instead of hanging around...
Liv Morgan, God. The Hooters Barbie, as Ronda Rousey called her. Because she did work at Hooters before she came to the WWE. What's going to happen with her? Will she be in this tournament they're going to have next week? How's she going to get past Nia Jax? Nia Jax has said she's in the hunt for that title.
The refrigerator. Oh, you are just killing me today, man, in every way.
I'm just saying. Who would be your choice for an interim women's champ for Raw? Don't tell me Piper Niven. Tegan Nox.
I'd probably have a surprise entrant from SmackDown and just I'd smack the shit on Jade Cargill and be done with it. Surprise entrant coming in now.
That's a good
Jade
point.
Cargill.
And for that matter, Don, would you wait until after the draft?
I would. That's what I don't get. They need to wait until after the draft to do this shit. I don't get this at all. This sucks, dude, for me as a fan, because this was like the one chick that I enjoyed watching wrestle. My wife enjoys watching her wrestle, and now she's gone. I mean, son of a bitch!
She's not dead, Don.
It's real to me. It's real to me, damn it.
April, May, June, July. She'll be back in time for SummerSlam, Don.
SummerSlam's
going to be a stacked show. They're counting on, I heard the TKO has said that they intend on making SummerSlam a summertime WrestleMania.
Well, it always
Take that for what you will.
It was always supposed. So you think it's going to be 2 nights, is what you're saying?
No, I think it's going to be stacked with a lot of celebrities, more so than what it usually is.
There was some more stuff.
I think they're trying to get Little Bow Wow and Diddy and Mace, guys like that.
P. Diddy.
P.
Diddy would be a good guy to bring in right now.
Of course, yes. And Kenny Omega, his favorite wrestler. He'll bring him in too.
Will you stop? God, I sound like Gorilla Monsoon at this point in time. Will you stop? There was more on this show. Sheamus came back.
Yes.
Or
he looked like $1 million.
Oh, boy. Look, I was just glad to see him back. He got a big pop. It was cool. The big thing that came out of this, and there's been a whole lot of debate about it today, the WWE introduced their new tag team titles. And Triple H said these would be known as the World Tag Team. Boy. He looks fine. Looks fine to me.
He's got dad bod now. Well, the man is like 46, 47 years old.
Yeah,
he's one of the older members of the roster. And he's got a big whipped cream ring around his package.
I wasn't gonna bring this up, dude.
It looks like he had a Rennie whip mishap backstage with one of the I don't know, Jackie Redmond, Liv Morgan, somebody back there.
Why does he have a target on his dong? I will not understand this forever.
That's a Celtic knot, Don. The Celtic knot. You know who's a good fan? You know who's a big fan of the Celtic knot?
Oh, dear.
Kenny Omega when he goes to Ireland. He's a big fan of the
stop?
Celtic knot.
God almighty. I'm starting to worry about you tonight. I really am.
Why's that?
I say one nice thing about Kenny Omega, and you're just out of the barn.
Like, you know what's on tonight?
Don't.
Dark Side of the Ring, Chris Adams.
Oh, is it? Okay, Gentleman Chris Adams. I'll be watching that.
Chris Adams, Dark Side of the Ring tonight.
There were some highlights. The World Tag Team Champions is what the new titles will be called.
You know who's in this? Hang on a second, Don. Hang on a second.
No, hold on. R-Truth.
Iceman King Parsons is interviewed in this.
Okay. You know who else is interviewed? R-Truth, who called Triple H Tommaso Ciampa.
Was that the funniest thing you've ever seen?
It was absolutely gold. I enjoyed it. Creed Brothers
Meltzer said no one understood it. Meltzer said no one understood it. He said no one in the crowd laughed. No one got it. Did you see that today?
I did not see that. So he's still drunk.
He shit all over that.
DIY wins, so that's going to be the match we get. Dom versus Andrade. Andrade wins in what had to be one of the worst matches I've seen Dom partake in. This isn't working. Please stop doing this. Like, we don't need to see this again. Jey versus Finn. Jey wins. I mean, it was everything else that you thought until the end. Until the end. Where the Intercontinental title got defended. And I've got to say, match. The crowd shot coming in was absolutely beautiful. Chad Gable and Numbnuts had a great match. I don't even want to say his name because it's bothering me so much that he's a champion right now. Why does Sami Zayn have that belt?
I think it's a consolation prize.
It's got to be right.
Yeah.
It's got to be. Anyway,
let me tell you something. When they have Bloodline versus Bloodline, Sami Zayn is going to be on the Roman Reigns side when they do Bloodline versus Bloodline.
Yeah, I don't know about that, pal, but he got heat at the end of this match. At the end of this whole thing,
Chad Gable did.
Heel. Chad Gable turned heel and began kicking the shit out of Sami Zayn, and I was highly entertained, and so was the crowd. If anybody out there hasn't seen it, take a look at it. The Canadian crowd was going insane. They were letting him have it. They were mad as hell at his ass. It was great.
Ankle lock on the top rope with Sami Zayn's leg wrapped around the top rope turnbuckle. And he had him in the ankle lock, cinching it in, and Sammy's hanging out of the ring screaming. And the referees are going.
I enjoyed the hell out of this. I thought it was great. I was thoroughly sports entertained. I'm looking forward to Chad Gable finally getting his moment of the sun, because now he gets to stop being that idiot shush guy and gets to be a serious wrestler again. And I'm looking forward to this role.
No shush. Who's going to take Maxine Dupree under her wing? What about Otis?
That dude's flapping in the wind now. Who knows where he's going?
He's flapping in the wind?
He's flapping in the wind, pal. There's nowhere else for that guy to go. Anyway, that was our show this week. I enjoyed it. I appreciate everybody for watching. No, that was the show this week, pal. We got to talk about what's coming up Thursday. Because Thursday, we've got to talk about whatever happens on AEW, obviously. That's going to be fun.
I can't wait for that.
We're also going to talk about the Dark Side of the Ring, which we have not talked about lately. I did watch the Harley race a couple weeks ago. We never covered that, I don't believe. That was worth watching if you haven't seen it. There was also an A&E sort of show where they collect all the shit for WWE, and Hogan was on this week.
Shit,
and I happened to
shit
catch
collectors.
Yes.
WWE shit collectors. I never miss an
Yes.
episode. That's
It
the
is
title
also
of it. They got a
on
hard time
Wrestling-
getting that past the censors.
Well, it's also on WrestlingShit.com, so it's a dual effort, if you will. So I'm looking forward to watching that. Hulk Hogan is just, dude, I don't know how else to say it. My man's had too many chair shots. Some of the shit he says is just
Of course.
You can't
he told me the other
defend what
day?
he's saying anymore.
He told me the host of WWE shit collectors is Janelle Grant. Is that true?
I can't.
Is that a lie?
I can't
just
see
saying.
right now. It will never be over.
It would never be over.
That's what he
Folks.
said. He said he gave Dusty Rhodes that line. It will never
Would
be
never
over.
be over.
He even
Folks,
said I taught him how to do the list.
Even though that will never be over. Folks, this show is over. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. This is just the kind of stuff we do. A couple of guys sitting around talking about wrestling. We talk about everything that's going on. Sometimes we have special shows. We're here Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 o'clock every night.
Eastern
Tuesdays
Standard
and
Time.
Thursdays. Eastern Standard Time. That's the new schedule. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Unless something big breaks, then you'll see in your notifications, if you click the little bell down there, there's a little bell. Click that. And Don's leg will go up when you click the little bell. No,
It
you
does.
click the little bell. And it does too. But when you do that, you get a notification saying that, hey, they went live with a special show. Vince McMahon's dead. Or Tony Khan is in a white Ford Bronco driving across the Golden Gate Bridge. Or something crazy like that. That's the sort of thing that we cover. Anything major in wrestling like that.
Yeah, we will drop a
it's
hot
just-
show.
We're just a couple of guys sitting around having a couple of drinks, talking about what we love about professional wrestling. And we do love professional wrestling. We do like certain things about AEW. We do hate a lot about AEW. But then again, as you heard tonight, there are things we hate about WWE. And MLW. Don?
Yeah, no.
How about
Hit the
TNA,
button.
Don?
Hit the button.
You know who'd love TNA, Don?
I bet he didn't.
Oh, I bet he did. He loved TNA.
I guarantee it. You son of a bitch.
Johnny Fingertips was in TNA. Big fan of Kenny Omega. Johnny Fingertips.
Hit the button.
Till next week, Gordon Soley saying so long from the Sunshine State.